All right, so a quick update out of Ukraine. The latest news coming out of Ukraine, specifically the Bakhmut area. You can see there's a lot of activity in this area. Basically, the Russians have taken the settlement of Berkhivka, and I'm going to draw this out for you. The heck. So they've taken Berkhivka. And they're also fighting for Yahidne, but the Ukrainians are holding out for now. But the Russians are making their way towards Yahidne. And also they're making their way towards Dubovo-Vasilivka. And basically, from all sides, from the east of Bakhmut, they have also advanced into closer towards the center of Bakhmut, and from the south they've also been pushing north. So the noose around Bakhmut is definitely tightening, and as I've said before, the road to the south, the H32, is under fire control. You can see it's less in some areas it's less than a mile away from the front. The northern road, the Russians control, and the only road left for the Ukrainians is a road that goes to Kahan, which is part of Chasiv Yar. And I'm just going to draw out this road. So this is the only road remaining. And the danger here is that the Russians aren't taking any breaks. They just keep pushing and pushing and pushing forward. With the fall of Berkhivka and Yahidne, the fall of Yahidne seems inevitable. Basically, all they need to do is push forward towards this last road, and they're just like about 2 miles away. They would have to go through the fields, and the Ukrainians most likely have trenches and every mine set up. But if they're able to do this, this is becoming a very precarious situation for the Ukrainians, right? Because if they cut off this road or get close to cutting it off, even if the Russians get halfway there and they set up some artillery, they're not going to be very far away. They're going to be, like 1.5 kilometers away. So it's becoming really dangerous for the Ukrainians. I'll show you another map. This is from the pro-Russian map maker Rybar. You can see that the Wagner assault units have taken Berkhivka, and then they're making their way to this settlement, Dubovo-Vasilivka, and Yahidne is on the verge of falling. Now, one thing I should mention, if Yahidne does fall, of course, then this entire suburban area to the east of Yahidne will also fall, because the Russians can just push from the east, the north, and then obviously the west as well, right? So, the noose is definitely tightening. In my opinion, the Ukrainians should be thinking about getting out as soon as they can. The only success they've had lately in the area is that they've pushed some Wagner assault units back from Ivanivske, I think it's called. This area is called Ivanivske. And they've pushed them a little bit to the south from there, but the Wagners still have a foothold. Some analysts think that the Wagners just overextended a bit, and that because Chasiv Yar, there's a huge contingent of Ukrainian troops, a huge buildup in Chasiv Yar. It's a huge military base, basically. And the Ukrainians just counterattacked, and they used armor. The Wagners mostly had light infantry, so they just fell back. So you see this bulge right here? That's basically the difference that's made. So, if we look at the map, it's really interesting because this is a pro-Ukrainian map. But if we look at all the symbols and we map it out where all the symbols are, basically all the symbols where fighting is taking place, I mean, let's just do this quickly. So you do that, and then you map this out a bit and get rid of these symbols. And I mean, you can really see that the Wagners are just going. They're just not hesitating. They're just, you know, the noose is tightening around Bakhmut, right? So there's no doubt about that. Anyways, aside from that, I'm gonna keep this quick. Make this a quick update, so I'm not gonna yap too much. But Marinka, we have to talk about Marinka. So it seems that the Russians have advanced a little bit more to the west, and they can now control most of Marinka, but it's really been back and forth with Marinka. I mean, there's been some points where the Russians have claimed that they would take all of Marinka, I don't know, within a week or something, and then they had most of it. The Ukrainians pushed them back, the Russians pushed this. So it's back and forth, but I mean, right now what's happening, you can see on the Rybar map, the Russians do control most of the settlement. And right here at Povjeda, if we look on this map right here, you'll see that there has been some fighting around Povjeda and or Pobjeda, and with that, what the Russians want to do is obviously they would want to outflank the Ukrainians, right? So they would want to take Pobjeda and then outflank Marinka, and that way that would basically force the Ukrainians to withdraw, right? Anyways, guys, that is it for today. That was a quick one. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.